The sleek metallic walls of the Galactic Sanitation Court headquarters gleamed under the light of 3 artificial suns. Senior Exterminator Zix-427 stood before the central assignment terminal, their 4 eyes blinking in sequence as they processed the information floating in the holographic display. "This must be a mistake," Zix-427 muttered, their vocal sacs vibrating with concern. The assignment details were clear: Planet Earth, Sector 7, Galaxy Arm 2994, species marked for removal, humans. Zix-427 had been an exterminator for over 300 cycles. They had cleared dozens of planets of troublesome species that threatened the balance of galactic resources. Some assignments had been challenging, yes, but none had ever failed. The Corps maintained a perfect record spanning 50,000 years. Yet something about this assignment felt different. Settling into their private chamber, Zix-427 began reviewing the preliminary reports. The first red flag appeared immediately. Earth had already experienced 5 major extinction events before humans emerged. Most species would have never evolved at all after just one such event. But life on this planet had not only survived but thrived after each catastrophe. "Computer, display previous intervention attempts," Zix-427 commanded. A holographic screen filled with data that made their exoskeleton tingle with unease. 3 previous exterminators had been assigned to Earth. All 3 had withdrawn their services, something that had never happened before in court history. The official reports were strangely vague, marked with phrases like "situation requires further study" and "traditional methods ineffective." Zix-427 leaned back in their suspension chair, absorption membranes pulsing with confusion. The data showed humans were nowhere near the most advanced species they had dealt with. They hadn't even colonized their own solar system yet. Their technology was primitive by galactic standards. They spent most of their resources fighting among themselves. By all normal metrics, they should be an easy assignment. Yet the deeper Zix-427 dug into the reports, the more puzzling details emerged. Humans had survived one of their own cities being destroyed by atomic weapons, and then rebuilt it better than before. They had faced devastating plagues that should have wiped them out, only to develop medical science that made them stronger. They had nearly destroyed their atmosphere with pollution, and then began developing clean energy alternatives. "Computer, display population growth charts," Zix-427 requested. The graphs that appeared were shocking. Every major disaster, every war, every plague was followed by a population boom and technological advancement. It defied all known patterns of species development. As Zix-427 prepared their initial mission briefing, they added several notations that went against standard protocol. Instead of the usual quick extinction timeline, they recommended an extended observation period. Something about these humans warranted closer study before any action was taken. That night, as the artificial suns dimmed to simulate evening, Zix-427 found themselves doing something they had never done before, reading about their target species' culture. They discovered humans had a saying, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." The senior exterminator's exoskeleton shuddered slightly. For the first time in their career, they wondered if perhaps there was a species that shouldn't be eliminated, not because they were too weak to kill, but because trying to kill them might be the worst mistake the Corps could ever make. Still, they had a job to do. Tomorrow, they would begin the standard elimination protocols. But as Zix-427 initiated their sleep cycle, an unusual feeling nagged at their consciousness, something that felt strangely like worry. Zix-427 watched their view screen with growing frustration as another extinction attempt failed. It had been 30 Earth days since they had begun their mission, and nothing was working as it should. The first attack had been simple, a carefully engineered virus designed to target human genetic weaknesses. Zix-427 had used similar viruses 100 times before on other species. The virus should have spread quickly and eliminated the humans within a week. Instead, something unexpected happened. The humans didn't just die. They fought back. Computer, display current human response to virus attack plan A, ZX427 commanded, their vocal sacs vibrating with irritation. The screens filled with images that made no sense to the alien. Humans in protective suits were working in laboratories around the clock. They had identified the virus within days. Within 2 weeks, they had created multiple vaccines. Most surprisingly, they had used the virus's structure to develop new medical treatments. Impossible, ZX427 muttered. They turned a weapon into a tool. Moving to Plan B, the exterminator had triggered severe weather changes. They used their ships to create massive storms, floods, and droughts. This plan had worked perfectly on 12 other planets. But the humans adapted again. They built underground shelters. They created new farming methods that worked in harsh conditions. They developed better weather prediction systems. Some humans even learned to harvest energy from the extreme weather events. ZX427's third attempt involved disrupting Earth's food chains. They targeted key plant species and important animal populations. On any normal planet, this would have led to mass starvation and chaos. The humans responded by creating artificial food production systems. They built vertical farms in their cities. They developed lab-grown meat. They even started eating insects for protein, something that made ZX427's exoskeleton crawl with disgust. Now, sitting in their command chamber, ZX427 faced an uncomfortable truth. Each attack had made the humans stronger. They weren't just surviving. They were learning, adapting, and improving. Computer, show me human technological advancement rates for the past 30 days, they ordered. The graphs that appeared were terrifying. Human innovation had increased by 300% since the attacks began. New patents were being filed at record rates. Scientific breakthroughs were happening daily. Global cooperation had increased significantly as humans worked together against these natural disasters. Most worrying of all, some humans had started to suspect these events weren't natural. ZX427 found discussions on human information networks theorizing about possible alien involvement. Some humans seemed excited by this possibility, eager to make contact, or worse, to fight back. Computer, end display, ZX427 said, their 4 eyes closing in sequence as they processed this failure. In all their years as an exterminator, they had never seen anything like this. Other species ran away from threats. They hid. They died. But humans ran toward danger. They studied it. They learned from it. They used it to make themselves better. ZX427 looked at their list of remaining extinction protocols. They still had more weapons to try, more ways to attack. But a new thought was forming in their tactical mind, one that no exterminator had ever had before. What if attacking humans was exactly the wrong thing to do? As if to answer their question, an alert flashed on their screen. Humans had just developed a new form of radar that could potentially detect cloaked alien ships. They had created it in response to unusual weather patterns, the very patterns ZX427 had caused. The exterminator felt something they had never experienced before, fear of their target species. For the first time in their 300-year career, ZX427 broke the most important rule of the Galactic Sanitation Court. Never studied the target species history. Exterminators were supposed to eliminate, not investigate. But these humans were different, and the alien needed to understand why. Computer, display complete human historical records, ZX427 commanded, their vocal sacs trembling slightly at this violation of protocol. The holographic screens filled with images that made all 4 of their eyes widen. The history began with early humans, small groups fighting to survive against massive predators. Any logical species would have hidden in caves forever. Instead, humans made weapons. They learned to use fire. They became the predators. Then came the Ice Age. The screens showed vast sheets of ice covering much of Earth. Most species would have died out. Humans. They invented better clothes. They learned to build warm shelters. They developed new hunting techniques. They didn't just survive. They spread across the planet. Show me their major disasters, ZIX 427 requested. The images that followed were shocking. Volcanoes had erupted, darkening Earth's skies. Humans adapted to farming in shorter growing seasons. Plagues had swept across continents. Humans developed medicine and hygiene. Their cities had burned down. They rebuilt with better materials. Wars had destroyed nations. They created international cooperation agreements. Computer, analyze human response pattern to catastrophic events. The exterminator ordered. The analysis was clear. Humans followed a unique pattern. When faced with a deadly threat, they didn't just react. They over-prepared. A famine didn't just lead to better farming. It led to food science, preservation techniques, and stockpiling systems. A disease didn't just result in a cure. It created entire medical research fields. But what really caught ZIX 427's attention was something even stranger. Humans had something no other species had. They could learn from disasters that hadn't happened to them personally. Display information transfer methods between human generations, they commanded. The screens showed libraries, schools, universities, and something called the Internet. Humans didn't just learn from their own experiences. They recorded everything. They taught their young about disasters from hundreds of years ago. They made plans for disasters that hadn't even happened yet. ZIX 427's exoskeleton tingled with a new understanding. Other species evolved through genetic changes over thousands of years. Humans evolved through information, and they did it in years, not centuries. Show me their disaster preparation protocols, the alien ordered. What they saw next made their absorption membranes pulse with shock. Humans had plans for everything. Asteroid impacts, alien invasions, zombie outbreaks, artificial intelligence rebellions, and things that hadn't even happened yet. They called it science fiction, but ZIX 427 recognized it for what it really was: advanced planning. The exterminator sat back in their suspension chair, all four eyes fixed on the final analysis. Humans weren't just surviving by luck. They had turned survival into a science. They treated every disaster as a lesson, every catastrophe as a challenge, and every threat as an opportunity to become stronger. ZIX 427 thought about their own failed extinction attempts. They hadn't just failed to kill humans. They had given them new problems to solve, new challenges to overcome, new ways to advance. Computer, end historical review, they said quietly. The screens went dark. But the truth was now blindingly clear. Trying to kill humans was like trying to put out a fire by giving it more fuel. Each attempt would only make them stronger, smarter, and better prepared for the next threat. And that was when ZIX 427 realized they had made a terrible, terrible mistake. Deep in the restricted archives of the Galactic Sanitation Corps, ZIX 427 found something that changed everything. Hidden behind layers of security, they discovered reports from the 3 previous exterminators who had tried to eliminate humans. Each report told a story more frightening than the last. Computer, display Exterminator Report 1. Earth Mission, ZIX 427 commanded. The first report was from 200 years ago. The exterminator had tried using advanced weapons to cause earthquakes. The humans not only survived but created an entire science called seismology. They built earthquake-resistant buildings. They made warning systems. Now they could predict earthquakes before they happened. Show me Report 2. ZIX 427 ordered, their vocal sacs quivering. The second report was even worse. That exterminator had tried removing Earth's magnetic field to expose humans to deadly solar radiation. Instead of dying, humans discovered new types of energy shields. They developed better sunscreen. They even learned how to use solar radiation for power. The third report made ZIX 427's exoskeleton crawl. The last exterminator had tried introducing artificial predators to Earth. The humans turned them into pets. They studied their DNA and used it to advance their own genetic research. Some humans even tried to protect the predators from extinction. Computer, analyze the common pattern in these failures, HFY 427 said. The pattern was clear but made no sense. Every time an exterminator attacked, humans didn't just defend themselves. They turned the attack into a new field of study. They didn't just solve the immediate problem. They prepared for every possible similar problem that might happen in the future. But the scariest part was something else. HFY 427 found a hidden note in the last report. Warning: humans are beginning to understand. Each attack makes them more suspicious of extraterrestrial life. They are starting to look for us. Display current human space observation programs, HFY 427 commanded. The screens filled with information about human telescopes, satellites, and radio signals searching the stars. They were looking harder after each strange disaster. They were getting better at detecting unusual patterns. Some had even started building spaceships designed for defense against alien threats. HFY 427 felt their absorption membranes pulse with a new emotion: respect. Humans weren't just surviving, they were learning. Every attack made them more prepared for the next one. Every failure to kill them made them stronger. But the most disturbing discovery was in a secret file marked Human Adaptation Mechanics. It showed something impossible. Humans could pass their survival skills to others without genetic transfer. They made movies about disasters that hadn't happened. They wrote books about invasions that never occurred. They'd practiced fighting enemies they hadn't met yet. Computer, calculate probability of successful human extinction, HFY 427 said quietly. The computer's response was shocking. Probability decreases by 27% with each failed attempt. Current probability, less than 0.001%. Warning: continued attempts will accelerate human technological advancement. HFY 427 closed the classified files and sat in silence. They finally understood why the other exterminators had quit. It wasn't because they couldn't kill humans. It was because trying to kill humans was making them stronger, smarter, and more dangerous. The truth was terrifying. The Galactic Sanitation Corps wasn't eliminating a weak species. They were accidentally creating the most dangerous species in the galaxy, one failed extinction attempt at a time. And now, HFY 427 had to decide what to do about it. The main chamber of the Galactic Sanitation Corps was silent as HFY 427 stood before the High Council. Their report wasn't the standard execution summary they had delivered hundreds of times before. This was something entirely different. Honorable Council, HFY 427 began, their vocal sacs carefully controlled to show proper respect. I am here to recommend that we classify Earth as a do not engage planet, effective immediately. The Council members' absorption membranes pulsed with surprise. In 50,000 years, no planet had ever received this classification. Display Evidence File 1, HFY 427 commanded. The holographic screens lit up with images of human cities rebuilding after disasters, laboratories developing new medicines, and defense systems growing stronger after each attack. The species known as humans does not follow normal extinction patterns, HFY 427 explained. When we attack them with a virus, they don't just create a cure. They build better hospitals. When we cause floods, they don't just build walls. They create advanced weather control systems. The Council shifted uncomfortably as HFY 427 continued. Display Evidence File 2. The screen showed human entertainment, movies about alien invasions, books about global disasters, games about fighting unknown enemies. Humans practice surviving disasters that haven't happened yet, HFY 427 said. They imagine threats and prepare for them. They turn their fears into tools for advancement. But most dangerous of all, they teach these survival skills to their children. One council member interrupted. Surely they can be eliminated with enough force. Zix-427's 4 eyes blinked in sequence before responding. Display final analysis. The screens filled with graphs showing human advancement rates after each extinction attempt. The lines all pointed sharply upward. Every attack makes them stronger, Zix-427 explained. They don't just survive, they improve. They don't just adapt, they evolve. And they do it faster than any species we've ever encountered. The council chamber remained silent as Zix-427 delivered their final conclusion. If we continue trying to eliminate humans, we will create exactly what we fear most. A species capable of challenging our dominion over the galaxy. Right now, humans fight among themselves. They focus their energy on internal conflicts. But if we give them a common enemy, Zix-427 paused, letting the implications sink in. Display final recommendation, they commanded. The screen showed a simple message. Earth must be quarantined. No extinction attempts. No contact. No interference. Our best defense against humans, Zix-427 concluded, is to leave them alone. Let them focus on their own problems, because if we force them to focus on us, we will only make them stronger. And if we continue to attack them, we won't just fail to eliminate them. We will teach them how to eliminate us. The council chamber remained quiet for a long moment. Finally, the High Council leader spoke. Motion to classify Earth as "Do Not Engage" approved. As Zix-427 left the chamber, they added one final note to their report. The greatest threat humans pose isn't their current capabilities. It's their potential. Every time we try to kill them, we show them another way they can become stronger. The only way to prevent humans from becoming the dominant species in the galaxy is to stop giving them reasons to improve. Let them remain focused on their internal conflicts rather than giving them an external threat to unite against. Because a united humanity, forged in the fire of survival, would be unstoppable. The report was sealed. Earth was classified as forbidden territory. And the Galactic Sanitation Corps learned an important lesson. Sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do to an enemy is try to destroy them.